UFC Vegas 93, Alex Perez versus Tatsuro Taira just ended. And this is going to be my UFC post-fight. I never want to hear another complaint about a UFC Apex card again. From top to bottom, this was some of the best MMA of 2024. This card flew under the radar and it absolutely delivered. It was better than UFC 300. It was the greatest fight card of all time. If you did not see this fight card live, you missed out. You missed out. I mean, I'm seriously thinking about, after I record this video, I might go back and watch the card in its entirety. I'm not even going to fast forward during the commercials. That's how good this fight card. That's how good this fight card was. It was just so incredible. I can't wait to go through the fights and recap them with you. And yeah, that's about it. That's about it. This was a great fight card. Starting off with the very first fight of the night, Josephine Knutsson versus Julia Polastri. What an outright war. Josephine Knutsson just slamming teep kicks left and right, over and over and over again. End of the first round, last 30 seconds, Julia Polastri gets a takedown, ends up in full mount, starts dropping elbows. Arguably could have stolen the round off of that. Did some serious damage. Second round, Polastri takes her down again, starts dominating her in the grappling. Third round, very competitive third round. Polastri was taking her down, controlling her a bit. Knutsson was winning on the feet. Last 30 seconds, Polastri got reversed, ended up on bottom. Knutsson did a little bit of damage. Honestly, hot take, maybe Polastri could have won this fight. I had the pleasure of rewatching this because I missed it live. Oh, I was so happy to go back and rewatch it. I thought you could give Polastri arguably all 3 rounds. Now, I didn't necessarily score that for her. I would probably go 2-1 for Knutsson with 1 and 3 for Knutsson, but the end of the first round, maybe you could sneak it off to Polastri with the damage at the end. Second round was clearly hers. Third round was up in the air. But overall, I don't think it was a bad decision by any means. And we had a bad decision on this card. It seems like every other week we're getting a robbery now, or really every single week we're getting a robbery. But Josephine Knutsson wins via unanimous decision. Moving up on the card, Melquizel Costa versus Nuerdanbieke. What an absolute fucking war this was. I can't even do this. I was gonna pretend like every single fight was amazing, but this card was not good. Okay, Nuerdanbieke dominated with the grappling the entire first round, just ragdolling him to the ground, controlling him, beating him up a little bit. Costa had nothing to offer in the first round. Second round, kind of 50-50, but Nuerdanbieke, definitely won the second round, had more control time. Costa, when he would sneak out and end up in an advantageous position, he would get reversed. Third round, Nuerdanbieke just gassed, shot it on a takedown, got reversed, ended up on bottom, got his back taken, and got rear naked choked. Honestly, embarrassing performance. Nuerdanbieke has no cardio, I guess because he's so used to striking. I mean, he's mixed in his grappling in some fights in the past, but I guess him being just so used to not like 100% wrestling game plan, maybe that's what gassed him. But yeah, Melquizel gets it done. Third round, rear naked choke. Overall, decent performance. A good comeback victory, which is always fun to see when a guy wins the first 2 rounds and then a guy pulls it off in the third round. That's always fun to see. Reminds me of old Timbo Shushinokami, which was a crazy finish. Moving up on the card. I forgot about this. Westin Wilson versus Jeka Saragih. Westin Wilson went out there and ripped Jeka Saragih's arm off and choked him with a triangle. Wins via first round triangle choke. Jeka Saragih came out, started throwing bombs, landed one good shot, ends up getting taken down right after that, soon after that. Then Westin Wilson goes for a guillotine. So he ends up on bottom. Jeka Saragih's on top. Jeka Saragih trying to land some ground and pound, gets caught in a triangle choke. Modified triangle choke, armbar position, basically doubling up on the subs. And it seemed like Jeka Saragih had his arm out enough, like where maybe he could create space and slip out. Instead of trying to do that, the little minute adjustments to get out of the submission, he decides to pick Westin Wilson up and kind of slam him and get deeper into the submission and then ultimately taps to the armbar. Westin Wilson pulls it off. Who would have guessed? Westin Wilson. Jeka Saragih should be ashamed of himself. Like, honestly, family should disown him. UFC should cut him. He needs to be thrown in jail, honestly, at this point. Imagine losing to Westin Wilson. But I'm actually happy, man. You see some of these guys who are low level, low pay, and then they come into the UFC and just get slaughtered time and time again. And it's kind of sad. It's like, damn, he came in and got slaughtered in the UFC for 3 fights and made $30K max. And now his dream's over. And now he's 35 years old and he doesn't know what to do anymore because His dream was to make it to the UFC. So I'm happy. I'm elated for Westin Wilson. I'm actually really, really happy for him, to be quite honest. I was rooting for him to get this done. He got it done over Jeka Saragih. First round triangle. Armbar. In first 2 minutes too. So shout out to Westin Wilson. Great performance. Moving up on the card. Gabriel Fernandes versus Carli Judice. What an absolute fucking barn burner this was. This was actually a really good fight. I'm not even kidding about that. Gabriel Fernandes would be like really good for like the first minute and a half. I scored it for Gabriel Fernandes. I don't remember exactly. I think I scored the first 2 rounds for Gabriel Fernandes, and I scored the last round for Judice. Basically, Gabriel Fernandes would come out, look really good for like the first minute, then slack off for the next like 2.5, and then win like the last 30 seconds. And there was really limited grappling in this fight, but it looked like Fernandes was going to blow through her. First round came out, started smashing her. Second round came out, started smashing her. And then in between there, like in between the beginning and the end of each round, it seemed like Judice would come back and land combinations of her own. But Fernandes was walking her down, lighting her up with right hands, and just smashing her on the feet when she was like full energy. But it would be weird because in between, it'd be like the middle of the round she would lose. But because she was so dominant in the beginning and at the end, it was like, okay, I'm giving her that round. First and second round gave it to her. I think in the second round, Judice tried to grapple a little bit, but didn't really have any success with it. Got one takedown. Fernandes got right back up. And then the third round, it was like Fernandes started slowing down. She had that good like first minute, but then the end of the round, but she didn't have it. After that first minute, she lost the rest of the round. So she won 1 minute of the round. She gets it done via split decision. I thought it should have been a 29-28 pretty clearly for Fernandes, but luckily at least the right winner got the win. Moving up on the card, Nate Maness versus Jimmy Flick. I'm ashamed of myself, to be quite honest. I picked Jimmy Flick. I thought, look, and this was my analysis, and the fight kind of did play out like this in a way. I thought Maness would engage a lot in the grappling on the ground, and Flick is just so slick on the ground. I thought he'd find a sub. Lost all 3 rounds. Actually, no. I had the first round for him. Was landing really good body kicks. Had a Von Flue attempt at the end. Got a takedown. Had a Von Flue attempt at the end. Maness was a little bit tentative on the feet. I could see you giving the first round to Maness, but I scored the first round for Flick. And then the second round, it was just Maness beating him up, working him in the clinch. I think he pulled a guillotine late, never really got close, and just got beat up on the ground at the end. And then the third round, he was gassed. His striking looked even worse. His grappling was non-existent. Every takedown was getting stuffed with ease by Maness. Maness did a few times throughout this fight really engage a little bit too much in the grappling. Like if I was rooting for Maness, I'd be like, get out of that position, get out of that position. Because Flick just finds submissions out of nowhere. But overall, I thought it was a more competitive fight than a lot of people thought it was going to be. And this is, I thought that in some of these grappling exchanges, Flick would be able to find a submission, but ultimately he loses via decision. And I think they gave it 30-27 for Nate Maness, which I don't hate. But overall, I think Jimmy Flick should have took the first round. Up on the card, next fight on the card, Adam Fugitt versus Josh Quinlan. Adam Fugitt wins via split decision. What? Split decision? Anybody remember that? If you know, let me know down in the comments. Fugitt wins via split decision. What the fuck are these judges looking at? I don't know. Quinlan clearly won the first 2 rounds, smashing leg kicks, leaping in with hooks. Fugitt throwing the slowest body kicks and head kicks I've ever seen in my entire life. Fugitt looking for a takedown. I think in the second round, yeah, got stuffed easily. Third round, Quinlan started to slow down and Fugitt was landing the better shots. So I could see you giving Fugitt the third round, but it should have been the first 2 rounds clear for Quinlan. I don't know what these judges were looking at. And then, like, what's weird is Quinlan wasn't even, like, shocked or anything. And Fugitt was like, yeah, it was a lot closer than I expected. Dude, you lost. You got outstruck in the first 2 rounds. I don't care what anyone says. You got outdamaged in the first 2 rounds. It wasn't even that competitive. You looked slow. Only because Quinlan was beating your ass and tired out was the third round competitive, in my opinion. So Quinlan loses via split decision. It's a robbery, in my opinion. I didn't see a lot of people complaining about it, but you'll have to let me know if you guys agree with that. I could not believe it. The decision. I almost didn't put my headphones on to even listen to the decision because I was so sure Quinlan won. And then they give it to Fugitt. I'm like, what in the hell? So the judges are just screwing up at every event. It's disgusting. What do we have? 60-year-olds? 60-year-olds judging the fights. And I think one judge gave Fugitt round 1. And then the other judge gave it round 2 and 3. And then obviously one judge gave 1 and 2 to Quinlan and 3, which was the right scorecard. Shout out to that judge. But what a fucking joke. What a joke this sport has become with horrible scorecards. We have to do something. And the UFC has the power to do it. They say, oh, we're regulated by the government. We're regulated. They can put pressure on the NSAC. They can put pressure on these commissions to change. They can put pressure on these commissions to reform. They did it with Power Slap. All of a sudden, they're legalizing Power Slap. You think if I wanted to start up Power Slap, you think I'm getting it sanctioned by all these different commissions? No, it's because the UFC's pooling power. You know, they can say, oh, well, we're not going to bring events here. We're not going to bring any UFC events here anymore. You're shit out of luck for money. So Adam Fugitt gets a robbery split decision win. Absolute disgrace to the sport. Moving up on the card. First fight on the main card. Almabaev versus Jose Johnson. This actually wasn't a bad fight. Almabaev clearly won all 3 rounds and just dominated him in the grappling. Johnson had some success early in the first round with a couple good shots, then gets, I think it was a teep kick that got caught. He was feinting a lot of knees, then he throws a teep, gets caught, gets ragged out to the ground, had nothing after that. Was getting ground and pound. There was good ground and pound from Almabaev. I think in the first round, Johnson got up 1 time. But then outside of that, he's just kind of looking for submissions off his back. And he just wasn't successful. You know, a couple times it was like, okay, he's kind of getting a little bit close here maybe, but it just, I don't know. I forgot even what the submission he went for. I think it was a triangle in the second round. Yeah, I just went and looked at my notes. It was a triangle in the second round. Johnson kind of got close, but Almabaev got out with pretty much ease. But Almabaev ragged on to the ground. Domination. Second round landed a nasty spinning wheel kick. Landed a couple spinning kicks to the body as well throughout the fight. Third round, almost got the rear naked choke at the end. Nasty elbow. I don't know if anyone picked up on it, but the Jose Johnson elbow, last 5 seconds, Almabaev had a crazy reaction to that. But I think Almabaev might have found the finish at the very end. But it's just Almabaev was just ragdolling him in the grappling, and Jose Johnson's too content laying there looking for a sub. How is he 6 foot tall and 125 pounds? That's what I'd like to know. How is he 6? But his legs were always in the fight. It was hard for Almabaev to pass guard. And Almabaev gets it done, though, via domination with the grappling. Won all 3 rounds. Great win for Almabaev. Moving up on the card, we have Brady Hiestand versus Garrett Armfield. Brady Hiestand gets it done via 3rd round rear naked choke. This was a banger, honestly. This was best fight on the card. This was actually best fight on the card. Hiestand was looking for takedowns early, nonstop. I think he ended up getting stuffed and then almost armbarred. I thought it was over. Garrett Armfield had an armbar extended. We didn't get a really good camera angle on it. But then after that, Hiestand got out, almost got a guillotine. It was very, very close. Armfield fights out of that. And then basically kind of wins the rest of the round with his grappling and looking for a rear naked choke. Hiestand clearly wins the first round. Second round, Hiestand gets absolutely destroyed. Gets hurt with a big right hand, then gets basically slept with a jab, almost flash KO'd on the feet a bit with a jab. Goes down badly. Garrett Armfield follows into the ground and cannot find the finish. And eventually, honestly, gets into a full mount in the second round. And Hiestand cheated throughout this fight, and it pissed me off. He was toes in the fence, grabbing the fence when he's laying next to it and moving his whole positioning. It was crazy. And the ref, I think it was Tyone. What a fucking clown that guy is. Don't grab the fence. Don't grab the fence. At one point, I remember he was saying, don't grab the fence. And Hiestand had stopped grabbing the fence and started grabbing again mid-sentence. I just don't get it. So anyway, the point is, in the second round after the finish, he was full mounted. He used the interlocking the toes in the fence to reverse position. They end up back to their feet. And Garrett Armfield clearly took the second round. And in the third round, Hiestand basically got a takedown. Garrett Armfield was tired. And he found the rear naked choke. Good win for Brady Hiestand. I'll tell you one thing. I don't judge fighters off of just pictures of their body and their cardio necessarily. Post USADA, I'm starting to get suspicious of a lot of these guys. Brady Hiestand had incredible cardio. I know he's had good cardio, but I don't know. It was just something a little bit suspicious. When I saw him in the post fight and I was analyzing his body, I'm like, this dude looks like he belongs in one championship. You watch one championship, you're like, every single one of these dudes is juiced to the gills. That's how I felt about it. But overall, good win. Good, dealing with the adversity. He's done it before in the past. And Garrett Armfield's no easy win by any means. So I thought Garrett Armfield was definitely going to win that fight. So Brady Hiestand gets it done via 3rd round rear naked choke. Moving up on the card. Featured fight. Featured fight. Lucas Almeida versus Timmy Cuamba. Lucas Almeida just basically dominated this fight. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Yeah, Almeida destroying him on the feet, tracking him down, pressuring him, dropped him twice in the first round, hurt him badly. Cuamba had a couple okay shots, but clearly he was getting outstruck. Second round, more of the same. Got hurt badly in the second round. I think it was a right hook. I don't remember. I don't think he got dropped. I think he looked for a takedown. Almeida was mixing in the body shots. Almeida clearly won that round. And then the third round, Almeida was kind of slowing down a bit and wasn't really throwing as much and got taken down and controlled a bit and beat up a little bit. So I gave Cuamba the third round. But the third round wasn't really that eventful. It was just like, oh, you got to give it to someone, so it's Cuamba. Almeida pretty much dominated this fight. Was just walking him down, landing big shots at will. Cuamba was like rocked half of the fight, it felt like. He was on jelly legs half the fight. And Lucas Almeida gets, I think, his first win in the UFC, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not looking at it in front of me right now. But good win for Lucas Almeida over Timmy Cuamba. They look like they were multi-weight class difference. You know, it looked like Cuamba should have been 2 weight classes lower. It looked like, I think that what his featherweight fight looked like he should have been at 125 with Jose Johnson. Jose Johnson looked bigger than Cuamba. So Cuamba's young. I expect him to win this one, but he gets beat up by Lucas Almeida, hurt 3 times, I think. So, but I did think there was some promise. He faced some adversity and came back and had some exchanges and was winning and was able to survive multiple times getting rocked. So shout out to Cuamba for dealing with that adversity, but ultimately loses via decision. Moving on to the co-main event. Miles Johns versus Douglas Silva de Andrade, the co-main event of the evening. What an absolute barn. I mean, this was better than Glover Teixeira versus Yuri Prochazka. That's how good this co-main event was. I mean, it was just back and forth from start to finish. Look, I don't know if this card was just, I was really down on this card or what. This fight almost put me to sleep. It almost put me to sleep. I want to scream, ew. Miles John just landing more first round, low output. Second round, same thing. John's just landed a little bit better shots. Third round, there was the wheel kick that kind of hurt Johns a little bit, and Andrade was like chasing after him. I thought you could probably give the third round to Andrade, but at that point, to be honest, I was so checked out that I don't even really. I was like blocking it out. I have a repressed memory of Miles Johns, Douglas Silva de Andrade. But one thing I really want to cover, okay, Miles Johns gets a decision. He stuffed takedowns. He didn't really shoot on many takedowns, and he just landed some big shots, squatted down, landed some big shots. Miles Johns goes in his post-fight and says, yeah, if Ricky Simone wins his next fight, I want a headline against him in the Apex. I have no words for that. That is single-handedly the worst idea I've ever heard in my entire fucking life. If Miles Johns headlines an event in 2024, I think I'm changing sports. I'm going to start watching the WNBA. I'll start watching tennis. I'm not watching Miles Johns headline a card. No. No way, no how. Absolutely, positively not. Especially not for that performance, dude. Yeah, so co-main event. I mean, honestly, I audibly gasped when I heard Miles Johns say, give me a main event in the Apex. I mean, that's even an embarrassment to the Apex. I don't know. I don't want to spend too much time on it. Miles Johns gets the win. So the highlight of the night, the main event, Tatsuro Taira defeats Alex Perez via second round TKO. And I know some people are probably going to call it fluky. I haven't really paid too much attention to fan reaction on this yet. I think it was a beautiful finish by Tatsuro Taira. Beautiful finish. But you know what's crazy? Bisping was saying, oh, what a clean performance. The commentary was incredibly biased. Tatsuro Taira lost the first round. Just barely, but I thought it was pretty clear Perez was landing harder shots. He was pressing the distance. He was landing good hard leg kicks. Taira would clinch up when he got kind of a little bit uncomfortable with the pressure, land some uppercuts. But I thought Perez clearly won the first round. On top of that, I believe in the first and second round, there was an eye poke by Tatsuro Taira. Then on top of that, he wins via injury. And again, I think he caused this injury, so I'm not going to complain about it at all. But this motherfucker, Michael Bisping, rim jobs him on commentary the entire first round when he's losing the first round. Then gets on the mic afterwards and said, this is one of the cleanest performances I've ever seen. Losing the first round, 2 eye pokes, and an injury TKO. What kind of crack is Michael Bisping smoking? What kind of fucking crack is he smoking? Because I want some of it. I would have needed it to enjoy this card. But anyway, Tatsuro Taira looked very improved on the feet, was landing good straight shots, even in the first round that he lost. Was clinching up well, landing some good uppercuts. Second round, shot it on a single leg. Ended up taking down Perez like kind of off a single leg trip. And then as Perez is kind of in a squatted position, getting back to his feet, Tatsuro Taira just sinks in the hooks and takes his back. Phenomenal transition. Beautiful transition. And then I noticed it right away. I was talking about it on my stream. He's on the back. Perez is now stood up. He starts like worming his way out. Like he's separating the distance between both their upper bodies while having the body triangle. He did it, I think, 3 times. The upper body strength that it must take to do that, the lower body strength that it must take to do that, but I think mainly it would probably be the abdomen there. It was craziness. So at one point, he does it a couple times. He throws some shots. He doesn't really look for the rear naked choke too much. Then they get back to like the center of the cage. So Taira's on his back, has like a body triangle, but then has his left leg behind the kneecap of Perez's right leg. Then with his left arm, he gets wrist control on Perez's right arm. And then he uses all that leverage and leans his full body weight back. And a lot of people, was it laced on the left leg or the right leg? Now I'm mixing it up. I think it was behind the left leg. Yeah, it was behind. So his right leg came across a body triangle, and then his right leg was behind the left kneecap of Perez. And then his left arm had wrist control in the right arm of Perez. And there's a reason I'm mentioning that, even though that seems like a inconsequential detail. But then he has wrist control with his left hand on the right arm. He worms his way back again. And the right knee of Alex Perez, I want to say Alex because Pereira, but Alex Perez, the right knee buckles. He goes to the mat. He's flattened out. Taira throws like one shot. Perez is tapping with his hand. And the ref jumps in and stops it. I think this is a clean win. He clearly caused the injury. It happened in the fight. But overall, I just think this performance from Taira just showed the level of grappling that he has. I mean, the way he was able to snatch up his back, the way he was able to take another grown man's back was incredible. And then he made him writhe in agony. And then he was writhing in agony. And Herb Dean's like, stay here, the doctor's here. Dude, I'm in fucking pain, leave me alone. Imagine you stub your toe real bad and you're like, oh God, this fucking hurts. And somebody's like, calm down, the doctor wants to look at it. No, let me writhe in agony, this shit just happened. Not that the doctor would look at a stub toe, but anyway, the reason I was talking about which knee buckled, Dominic Cruz in this fight card, what a fucking clown he is. I have no fucking patience for Dominic Cruz. All he's talking about all damn night is stoppages. Like, we get it. You're salty that you think it's an early stoppage against Henry Cejudo. Shut your fucking mouth. Anyway, he kept saying it was like the left knee. He was saying the way the legs were laced there, it was the left knee. No, it was clearly the right knee that buckled. You seen him grabbing the right knee. And on top of that, you could see it buckle in the replay. So, Dominic Cruz is smoking crack. Bisping smoking crack. Least favorite commentary team ever. John Gooden, I think, was commentary team as well. Someone mentioned Johnny Hendricks. He didn't even know who the fuck that was. He was like, I don't know who that is. But overall, great win from Taira. Has a little bit of controversy, but fair enough. It was his grappling that won him the fight. I think he would have won anyway. The way I saw those smooth transitions. And he calls out Pantoja. Sign me up right now. I know, necessarily, okay, one top win. Who cares? The division's wide open. There's no clear-cut number one contender. Urseg just got a title shot. Let's put Taira in there. And hot take right now, early prediction, I'm taking Taira. Pantoja's taken so much damage. He's been controlled a bit on the ground. He showed holes in his game a little bit. And he's getting, the damage really is the main factor. He's getting older. He's slowing down. I think Taira, the young Tatsuro Taira, can come in there and out-transition Pantoja. And what a grappling match that would be. It would be phenomenal. So give Taira the next title shot. He beats Perez with rather ease. And I think Perez was ranked in the top 5, maybe. I would love to see that matchup. Great main event overall. I thought it was fun. We saw, Taira striking a little bit improve. He didn't look gassed at all after the first round or anything. Not that it really says much. First round cardio. You should have first round cardio at flyweight. And then slick finish, in my opinion. I don't care what anyone says. Slick finish, in my opinion. The only thing that sucks is the double eye pokes. I mean, it wasn't a double eye poke, but he eye poked him twice throughout this fight. That was the only thing that was annoying, but none of them were like super egregious. So, and he gets the finish. So Tatsuro Taira wins at UFC Vegas 93. What an incredible UFC Fight Night card. Barn burner. Instant classic. Honestly, if DVDs were still popular, I'd go out and buy this one on DVD. If VHSs were still popular, I'd go out and buy this on VHS. The only bad thing about this card, not the fights, was Michael Bisping's dumbass, Dominic Cruz's dumbass, Chris Tione not shutting the fuck up the entire card. I wanted to smack the shit out of him the entire card for shouting the rules when it's his job to enforce the rules. And Brady Hiestand constantly cheating nonstop. That was really annoying as well. So there's my long list of complaints about this card. Please let me know what you think in the comments. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching.